Hey there, wonderful audience who have joined the Revolving Relationship today. Get ready to embark on an incredible adventure with us. Subscribe now and let's explore the concealed secrets and uncover the truth together. Today, we will delve into a challenging topic that is relevant to all of us on our journey: handling deceit and betrayal. Well, my friend, today's story about OP found out his wife cheated. Let's see what happened. Sorry if this sounds frantic. I'm trying to breathe, but I need to get this out somehow as it's 2 a.m. here, and I feel stuck with a storm of emotions, shaking. My wife and I are separating. It was brought up by her about a month ago, and through the struggles of it, all I am trying to look towards the future and focus on what I need to do for myself. I made a comment in another sub about my part to play in it all. I was a guy who didn't understand his emotions, let alone how to communicate them. And it led to a lot of yelling and verbal abuse that has weighed heavy for 8 years of the relationship. I accept it as my fault. What really set things off was when I had to confront a lie I told at the beginning of the relationship, pre-marriage, about how many partners I've been with. I have a stupid man brain and thought I should bump that number. I don't want her to think of me less manly in some way, so I lied. I said 5, when I should have said way less. Flash forward almost 10 years, 8 years into the marriage, I tell her the truth after way too long. After some work on myself, I realized how wrong it was and needed to come clean. Ever since, marriage on the rocks. She tells me she can't trust me anymore, and I don't blame her. I want to understand what it did to her, what that means to myself. Working on myself. Last month, she realizes she can't move forward and wants to separate. I try my best to understand while continuing to view everything I did wrong that led us here. Few days ago, I see an odd notification on her phone. Thought it was from her roller derby group and shrugged it off. Until tonight, when it all got the better of me and I checked. Boom. WhatsApp, classic choice, right? Messages between her and some dude named Allison with meetup times, sex, and constant flirting going all the way back to over a year ago. Almost 8 months before I came clean to her. Like, I just can't believe this. The amount of shit I've gone through for my life when this has been happening. How hard I've tried to be the perfect husband for her to make up for everything. I just can't. I talked with a very good friend and they talked me down. I was furious. I wrote how I felt in a letter. I just want her to know how much she's hurt me with this before she can live freely after the separation divorce. Update. Sorry for the long post. I just needed to get it out. Wow, I cannot express how grateful I feel for everyone's advice, encouraging words. I managed about 2-ish hours of sleep. I'm exhausted, my emotions are down a bit, but the thought of when she wakes up gets my emotions swirling again. A little more info that I've covered a bit in replies, plus some no goods with an odd living situation, with being the temporary caretakers of a home that belongs to her family that we planned on buying. Not anymore. Hindsight 2020, I guess, and only now do things start making sense. Her checking out emotionally, lack of intimacy, all the things I blamed myself for and thought I needed to change before our relationship could change. I am putting myself first. This is gonna be a large hurdle for me to work through going forward. But I know that letting this solely define me is just another way for her to crush my spirit. I am happy with the work I've done, and I don't even know where I would be right now without it. Plan as of right now at 7 a.m. I've showered, packed a couple days worth of clothing, and planning on how this morning will go. Originally, yeah, I was feeling vindictive. All those feelings of wanting to yell and scream came back. I took a breath, and I know that was a different me, and doing any of it would ruin all the work I've done. That being said, I can acknowledge I am hurting, and I can't live with holding on to another wound like this for me to let go invisible on me. I need to communicate it, and I want to do so in a way that emotionally gets across how much this has harmed me. Harmed me in ways I probably won't notice for years. How it's harmed the future relationships I will have. So I wrote down a lot of thoughts, reread them, and edited them so I can try to convey it all. I'm waiting till she gets up. I need her to know before I leave for good. Update. What a weird day. I never saw any of this for myself. This all feels so weird. It's like my whole life has been turned inside out and looks so unrecognizable. As the high of yesterday starts to go, I can start thinking at a steady pace. It's all sinking in. Update. I waited for her to get up from bed all morning, with my bag packed and ready to go with some clothes and essentials. I paced our living room as I thought about only how the next few moments would go. I didn't know how she'd react after hearing the letter I wrote. I wasn't sure if she'd try to run and leave, lock herself in a room, start arguing with me, maybe be so wild and attack me or herself. I've never felt so unsure about how something would go. I'm sitting on the couch trying to think of every scenario that could play out when she finally walks in. I play everything cool, as we get a couple morning things like walking our dog and getting coffee out of the way. I want us to be sitting down with no distractions. And when we finally do, I tell her I couldn't sleep last night, so I wrote something. I open my laptop and start reading. The letter essentially goes over what I posted originally here but broken up into two parts. First part was touching on my role in rage I played, the work I've done to change, how the separation affected me, my suspicion to go through her phone and what I found. The second part was everything I wanted to make sure I communicated to her, like how much hurt she's caused me. As I read it, her eyes never met mine. She stonewalled. Nothing but just listening as I read on. And when I finished the first portion, I gave a pause to see if she'd say thing. And the gall of her. After me telling her all the events of last night along with my thoughts, feelings, and pain, the only thing she has to say is, "You went through my phone," with a disgusted look on her face. Jesus Christ. Like I didn't just spill my heart and tried to focus on me. She has always done this in our relationship. Anytime I would start to open up about something hurting me, she would find a way to make it about her. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, I guess I should have given the history there, but wow, just wow. I went off script for a bit, then came back and finally finished reading it. The whole time she was quiet as a mouse, emotionless, and responding in a matter-of-fact sort of way. I don't think there's a way to accurately post every detail. I was so angry. I felt so betrayed by her and her disregard of me, especially in this moment. With that done, I closed my laptop, grabbed my things and left after a few biting words here and there. I set off on my list of people I need to talk to. Next stop, her parents. They've been so nice to me. They invited me in every family trip, every family gathering, gave me one of their cars when mine up and died last year, always seemed to care how I was doing. I didn't come from the best home growing up. My mom tried her best, but looking back, I can see how my environment was not the healthiest. So her family is the closest I felt to one in that regard. She didn't tell them about the separation until the day before, Saturday, and I had planned to talk to them about it anyways at some point. They invited me in, and we sit down, and I let them know just how grateful I am for the role they've been in my life. How accepted they made me feel at every event and how indebted I am for the opportunities they've given me. They are so sweet. Her mom cried and hugged me. Her dad was secretly wiping away tears. In contrast to my wife, it felt so good to be able to speak to honestly and clearly. I realized that as her parents, they will always be loving and caring towards her, as they should, as any family should. So any attempt of me exposing her would be just for me, and might come off as odd. So I danced around the subject, confessing to going through her phone, finding something she's been hiding from me, and how when I found out, I know things were done between us. I feel like they understood in some way. They asked me what my living situation looks like, and I told them I'm probably couch surfing for a bit as I figure things out. They offered me free furniture if I end up getting a place, and if I left to go farther away, they want to see me off. God, I love them. We hugged, said goodbye, and I went off down my list of who I needed to speak to. My sister and close friends took it relatively the same way. By the end, I felt like every time I repeated the events I was getting more desensitized. My adrenaline pumped through me and left that numbing effect where everything feels slightly unreal. I was so exhausted, mentally and physically, that I crashed on the couch at one of my buds. The plan so far is prepare a space today at my sister's so I can slowly bring my stuff over. My wife has roller derby practice twice a week, so I'll be going over during those times as to avoid her as much as I can to get my stuff. I have a buddy who lives out of state that's been my rock during all of this. He's called me between every visit I did yesterday to check in on me and make sure I'm okay. He also really wants to move out there with him. He's already planned where I'll stay, what jobs I'll apply to, and all the rock climbing we'll do. I think I'm leaning in that direction. I'll talk to my therapist later this week about it. I won't post my letter here because then this would be ridiculously too long, like it isn't already. But that last part really got after what I was trying to communicate, so I can post that. I want you to know just how much believed in you. How I always wanted to root for you even in the toughest of times. I loved you infinitely. My love was so strong that I faced many difficult challenges within and from without myself to give you everything I thought you deserved. I know I am hopeful. I know that I always give the benefit of the doubt, and at times it's to my own detriment. I know that it is hard in this hard and dark world to find people like me who will get up and try again every day. I want you to know how much you've lost in me. I don't know how, but I'm sure you will find a way to justify or even just cast aside all the hurt you put me through. I hope you will always remember how much you lost in me. Oh, I forgot one thing. Last night I got a text from her parents. They said if I need a place to stay, I can stay in their addition. They rock. Next part is coming. Please leave us a comment, like, and subscribe. Have a nice day and see you on the next one.